There were days in my PhD in which I would get absolutely nothing done. And when I say nothing, I literally mean nothing. Like, I would spend the entire day doing something, chasing tasks on my to-do list, but never actually having a sense that I achieved something. And when I share this feeling and sentiment with colleagues of mine and with other PhD students, I realized I'm not the only one. And actually nowadays, when I coach PhD students, I realize that I would say 100% of them are actually experiencing the same thing, at least at some point during the entire research journey. And the reason why this happens is because how we define the tasks and how we define what is good enough and what is done in science, especially when we are sort of unexperienced, because the PhD is, for the majority of us, actually the first time we are entering this research process, the first time we are actually entering this research journey, and the first time doing real research. So what happens here, one of the most common mistakes that I see is when people say, I was working the entire day, but I achieved nothing. The first mistake that I see here is that how is it possible that you achieve nothing? And just to be clear, I was completely guilty of doing that myself during the majority of my PhD. But the problem is, like, how can you be doing something and achieving nothing? And the problem isn't because you are achieving nothing, is because you are making it look like nothing. Because in research, we feel that our research is not done until we have something to prove that it's done. For example, a thesis, a publication, and so on. However, what we need to do then, the exercise that we need to do, is to make sure that we can sort of build our research around things that we are doing and naming them and making this often invisible work visible, so that you never spend one more day in the lab working the entire day saying, today I did nothing. You might not have achieved what you were aiming for, an experiment, finishing a model, preparing, I don't know, the introduction of your thesis, but you are certainly moving forward. So the best strategy that actually works here is define our tasks as something that is doable and achievable, because this is instantly going to give you back that sense of control that we are craving in the research process. In practice, this is how it would look like. So a task that is not well defined would be figure out this and that, fix the model, finish the experiment. All of those things are very vague. They don't mean anything until you actually make them mean something. So instead of saying, I'm going to fix the model, a good thing that you can say is, today I'm going to take, I don't know, 3 hours, and in 3 hours I'm going to clean the first part of the code. This is something that is achievable, doable, and when you do it and achieve it, you are actually going to be able to cross that off your to-do list. Or figure something out. Figure out what figure 5 should look like. Like, this is very vague. If instead you said, no, today I want to clean up figure 5, put on the legends, put on the color code, and make sure it fit, and write the figure caption, for example. That are things that you can do and that are actually achievable and doable, and do not depend on what the data says, what the experiment, whether something will fail, and so on. So this is, I would say, one of the most life-changing things that you can do in your research process, especially since if you're feeling that you are not ever getting your work done. If you're working hard but never having that sense of something being done, this is definitely something I would recommend doing. And this is just one of the strategies that I use when I coach PhD students, when I help them with organizing their research, making sense of their research, figuring out what their next step should be in their research journey, and of course help them build a backbone of their PhD thesis or paper. So if you are in that situation right now, I want to invite you to schedule a completely free intro coaching call with me. I will leave a link down below in the description. And in that call, we can discuss exactly where you're at with your research, exactly what are your struggles, what are your challenges, and what are the exact tangible next steps you should take in order to be a little bit closer to that finish line, whether on your own or with my help and support. So I hope that you found this video useful, and as always, see you in the next few days with another video. Bye bye.